In this video, I'm going to react to the story of the tomb of the unknown soldier. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. This is the place where I react to music, media, sports, anime, anything related to popular culture. I'll watch it with an open mind and give you my 100% honest reaction to it. And if you could please hit that like button early, I'd really appreciate it. Now, this is going to be a really interesting one. I have literally no idea what this is about, but it was when I reacted to Oversimplified's World War II that a lot of people, and I mean a lot, suggested that I put this on my list. So if I had to hazard a guess, I'm guessing it might be about a soldier who made a huge sacrifice, maybe the ultimate sacrifice. Perhaps they couldn't find any identification of that soldier, hence why he's unknown. That would be my guess. But yeah, I think it's going to be something poignant and something to that effect. But yeah, I'm really fascinated, really curious. That's why, even though I was only recommended this maybe a couple of weeks ago, I had to put it high on my list. So let's go. This is going to be me reacting to the story of the tomb of the unknown soldier. Let's do it. The story of the unknown soldier.
Not every soldier is recognized for his heroic actions. Indeed, one of the countless tragedies of war is that the bodies of many soldiers are never even identified. On August 3rd, 1956, 3 years after the end of the Korean War, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a bill to select and pay tribute to the unknown soldiers of the Korean War and World War II. These soldiers would be buried in the Tomb of the Unknowns at Arlington National Cemetery.
That's a really nice touch.
The Tomb of the Unknowns was created in response to the mass casualties of World War I. The idea of honoring the unknown dead, of which there were so many in World War I, began in Great Britain in 1920. Then, in March 1921, the U.S. Congress approved a plan.
Goodness me, just look at all of these, these are graves, right? Or are these like memorials, or were they actually buried here? Because this is just a vast number.
Plan to return the body of an unknown American soldier from the war and bury him with full honors in a tomb to be constructed at the Memorial Amphitheater in Arlington National Cemetery. On Memorial Day, 1921, 4 unknown soldiers were exhumed from 4 World War I American cemeteries in France. They were placed in 4 identical caskets and set before a highly decorated veteran of that war, U.S. Army Sergeant Edward F. Younger. Sergeant Younger ceremonially selected 1 casket. He later spoke of his decision.
Here rests in honored glory a comrade in arms, known but to God. Wow, man. I'm getting goosebumps already.
I was left alone in the chapel. There were 4 coffins, all unmarked and unnamed. The one that I placed the roses on would be the one brought home and placed in the National Shrine. I walked around the coffins 3 times. Then suddenly I stopped. What caused me to stop, I don't know. It was as though something had pulled me. I placed the roses on the coffin in front of me. I can still remember the odd feeling that I had, standing there alone.
The chosen unknown was transported to the United States aboard the USS Olympia. Those remaining were interred in the Meuse-Argonne Cemetery, France. The selected unknown lay in state at the Capitol Rotunda until midnight on November 10th, 1921. On November 11th, Armistice Day.
Wow, when is this footage dated to? Because this looks really old. Could this footage be from that period, the 1940s, 1950s? Wow.
The casket of that unknown soldier was carried from the Rotunda to Arlington National Cemetery under a military escort. Behind the caisson bearing the flag-draped casket walked President Harding, Vice President Coolidge, Chief Justice Taft, and the other justices of the Supreme Court.
Wow.
Members of the Cabinet, Senate, and House of Representatives, generals and other distinguished officers from America's wars, and recipients of the Medal of Honor.
Wow.
President Harding officiated at the interment ceremonies at the Memorial Amphitheater at Arlington National Cemetery. He conferred upon the unknown soldier the Medal of Honor and the Distinguished Service Cross. Representatives of foreign governments allied with the U.S. in World War I participated as well, bestowing upon the unknown their own highest military awards. The United States reciprocated this gesture, honoring an unknown soldier from nations of France, Great Britain, Belgium, Italy, and Romania with the Medal of Honor.
That's awesome.
In the history of the Medal of Honor, these are the only 5 instances in which the award was presented to a foreign soldier. After World War II, plans were made for the selection and burial of an unknown from that war. But fighting in Korea broke out before the selection process had begun. The decision was made to postpone until a more appropriate time.
Honestly, watching this just highlights the horrors of war, the absolute horrors of war. You know, I just hope, and pray that we never see something like an event like World War II again, at least in my lifetime, because just the loss of life, the amount of people that died, it honestly makes my stomach churn. Rest in peace to all of those fallen soldiers.
That time turned out to be 1958, when unknowns from World War II and the Korean War were selected for burial in the Tomb of the Unknowns. The final selection of the unknown from the Korean War took place on May 15th, 1958. All of the unknown war dead from that war had been buried in the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific. In that place, 4 candidates for burial in the Tomb of the Unknowns were placed in identical caskets, draped with American flags. Master Sergeant Ned Lyle, a recipient of the Distinguished Service Cross for heroic action in Korea, was designated to make the final selection. He placed a wreath of blue and white carnations on one casket and saluted the remains of the soldier inside. The selection of the World War II unknown took place 11 days later aboard the USS Canberra.
Goodness, look at this gunship right here. Gosh, look at all the armaments. You would not want to mess with this boat right here.
Earlier stages of the selection process had resulted in 1 remaining candidate from the European Theater of Operations and 1 candidate from the Pacific Theater. Hospital Corpsman First Class William R. Charette, recipient of the Medal of Honor for actions in the Korean War, made the final selection. The selected unknown, along with the unknown from the Korean War, arrived in Washington on May 28th, 1958. They lay in state in the Capitol Rotunda until 1 p.m. on May 30th. As the procession moved toward Arlington National...
Honestly, this is really giving me like goosebumps and shivers. It's just all of these men just laid down their lives, just gone. All of their families, friends, they won't ever see them. Well, they didn't. It's just sad,
Cemetery. The 2 caissons, each carrying one unknown, traveled side by side. When they reached the cemetery, they shifted into a column led by the caisson bearing the World War II unknown soldier. As the caissons entered the cemetery, 20 jet fighters and bombers passed overhead, with one plane missing from each formation. The casket of the World War II unknown soldier was placed in front of President Eisenhower, and the Korean War unknown soldier in front of Vice President Nixon. The Marine Band played the national anthem, and then a bugler sounded attention 3 times. After a long moment of silence, President Eisenhower placed a Medal of Honor on each casket. The unknowns of World War II and the Korean War were interred in the plaza beside their World War I comrade. The tomb sarcophagus was placed above the grave of the unknown soldier of World War I in April 1931. The sarcophagus is constructed of 7 rectangular pieces of white marble, together weighing 79 tons.
Wow.
On the west panel of the sarcophagus, facing the amphitheater, are the words, "Here rests, in honored glory, an American soldier, known but to God." On the east panel, facing the Capitol, 3 Greek figures have been sculpted. On the left stands Peace, holding a dove in one hand. On the right stands Valor, bearing a broken sword in his hands. In the center stands Victory, holding hands with Peace while extending an olive branch to Valor. The north and south panels present a total of 6 inverted wreaths, each representing a major campaign of World War I.
Major goosebumps right now.
West of the sarcophagus are the crypts of unknowns from World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Those 3 graves are marked with white marble slabs that lie flush with the plaza. Since April 6, 1948, the tomb of the unknown soldier has been guarded 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, regardless of weather. In blazing sun, freezing snow, and even in the face of hurricanes, the sentinels continue their watch.
That is badass. The Sentinels.
The Sentinels, members of the 3rd Infantry, or Old Guard, are famous for the precision of their march and changing of the guard. The Sentinel marches 21 steps across a black mat, past the crypts of each unknown. He then makes a crisp 90-degree turn to face east for 21 seconds. He then makes another 90-degree turn, facing north for 21 seconds. A crisp shoulder arms movement places the rifle on the shoulder nearest the visitors to signify that the sentinel stands between the tomb and any threat. After that moment, the sentinel paces 21 steps north, turns, and repeats the process. Every hour during the winter and every half hour during summer daylight hours, the sentinels conduct the changing of the guard ceremony. As the new sentinel approaches the relief commander, slowly and with great precision, conducts a white glove inspection of the sentinel's weapon. The 2 then march to the center of the mat, where the active sentinel stops his walk, and all 3 men salute the tomb.
Man, this is an excellent tradition. Excellent.
The relief commander instructs the active sentinel, "Pass on your orders." The sentinel replies, "Post and orders remain as directed." The relieving sentinel responds, "Orders acknowledged." The relieving sentinel then steps into position at the center of the black mat. The relief commander and relieved sentinel exit, and the new sentinel begins his march. The unknown soldiers serve to remind us that not all actions of valor are witnessed and recorded in war. We do not know the stories of these men, but we know they gave their lives in a war they did not start to protect the freedom of people who would never know their names. They demonstrate the courage and heroism of every man and woman who goes into combat in service of their nation. They will face threats we can hardly imagine in an attempt to eliminate the dangers that are posed to the men in the trench beside them.
Man, that was excellent. Just moving, poignant, thought-provoking, just so many things. Like, it really hit me so many times. Like, you know, imagine laying down your life, you know, in a conflict that you didn't start, you had nothing to do with pretty much, and nobody's going to know that you did that. You know, and still doing it, you still choose to do it. The ultimate selflessness, and just, you know, I love the tradition of the sentinels being there 24/7. You know, it just shows, it's a visual representation of the appreciation that America has for, you know, the unknown soldiers. Really, really great. I hope that we have something similar here in the UK. I'll definitely do some looking into it. But yeah, thanks to whoever recommended me this video. This was excellent. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and keep throwing the recommendations my way. I know I say it all the time, but they genuinely help me out, because if I know you enjoyed watching something, I'll definitely enjoy reacting to it. So like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, keep throwing the recommendations, and I'll catch you in the next one.